Greetings, true friends. Welcome back to the weekly Q&A. First question. I became a widow last year when my son was just 11 years old. So this means I am an evil single mother. Now, first and foremost, that is not what we mean with evil single mother. The definition of an evil single mother is someone who has actively gone for a man who they know will not stick around to raise the children. So a widow is not an evil single mother, it's just a tragedy, and these sort of things can happen to anyone. So whenever we talk about single mothers, it's a problem when it's an active choice, but this obviously is not an active choice, so you should not refer to yourself as such. Anyway, going forward with the question. Could you please give some advice for single mothers wanting to raise boys to become valiant knights, etc., etc.? Excellent question, and the answer I would give is to put your son in as many environments where there is positive masculine role models. If you have male relatives, make them spend time with them as much as possible, and this does not need to be the most elaborate thing ever. It can just be going with his uncle to the hardware store to buy some wood or build something, or go out in the forest to do something. Because the thing with positive masculine role models in these sort of situations is not that, you know, he sits down and have a talk and tells him all the secrets about life. It's just a younger man or a younger boy, 11 years in this case, just looking at an older man, seeing how things are done. And you do this best by just observing, not by actually talking. So if they are building something, they're constructing a whatever it might be, he will look upon the older man, seeing how he hammers the nail down the wood, for example, or cutting wood, whatever. These are just examples. It can be something to do with motors, it can be something to do with weapons. The point is that he actively learns from the older man. And if he doesn't have any older male relatives where he can do really mundane regular stuff with, I suggest that you put him in some sort of, might be a bit too early if it's only 11 years old right now, but when the time comes, at least get him to train at some sort of place, maybe a boxing gym, maybe an MMA gym, where there is a good trainer. And then you can actually talk to him and say, you know what, my son is in need of a positive male role model who can be, as obviously not a father, but at least give some sort of motivation for him to partake in. And yet again, a good aspect of an older male role model is for someone to strive to make proud. So if he has a coach then that he works hard to make proud, kind of get the same sort of, yet again not the same thing, but a similar enough thing to get the young boy to push himself. So anyway, obviously not an optimal scenario, but I salute you for wanting to make the best out of it. And the primary advice from me would just be to get him to spend time with older males, just doing regular things. It doesn't have to be the most epic thing in the world, but it can just be regular things, so he sees how men act with each other and how men act when they're doing things. So, I hope that could be of some help at least. Next question. Golden Lion, in your ground wisdom you have previously recommended TRT for older men, and also stated that you would likely get on TRT when your beard of wisdom starts displaying grey hairs. Is this still your plan? Yes, most definitely it is. So the plan is to, whenever I get older, in 10 years, 15 years, and I notice that my testosterone is declining, and I will obviously make a test then and see if the levels of testosterone actually has declined, then you can take TRT to help with intensity and energy and everything like that. And I do also recommend for all older men, or for all men by the way, who have a low testosterone, to get TRT. Females, they get all the help in the world if they have a problem with their hormones. Men do not get it because the powers to be, or the current zeitgeist, the Current narrative stipulates that testosterone is something bad. I obviously know better because I'm the blessed, chosen by the gods of wisdom, so I have another opinion on this, and I say that testosterone is intensity and energy, it's not aggression. And that's usually what people say, like, oh, testosterone will make you aggressive and this and that. It can make you more aggressive if you perceive an injustice, but in my view that is only good. So if you see someone harassing an old lady, if you have high testosterone, it will make you react more intensely, and in my view that is only good. So anyway, point being, females get all the help in the world if they have problems hormonally speaking, and I would obviously want the same for men. So if a man has low testosterone and is suffering from it, by all means, yes, he should go to the doctor and get that from the doctor. No question about that at all. Next question. What are your thoughts on the recent development where a mosque in Växjö has been granted permission to shout out the Muslim call to prayer through speakers up to 110 decibel? To be honest, I think that is good, because that will get people to realize that Sweden is heading in the wrong direction. The issue is when the problems are hidden from the mainstream. Now, when the problems are being brought to light, people will react. So reacting by voting for the right alternatives, etc., and start talking about the problems openly. So I view that as only positive in a metapolitical sense. Next question. Greetings, what are your thoughts on Ido Portal and the movement community as a whole? I haven't partaken nearly as much as I would want to in the teachings of Ido Portal. I know Conor McGregor has worked a bit with him, and I know he's popular with chiropractors, etc. And obviously all knowledge and attainment of enlightenment is great in my view, and if I can partake in it, it's a luxury for me. So I'm all for it. I'm all for, developing a better understanding of the human body. I think that's absolutely awesome. So yeah, yet again, like one of these things that I have on my to read up on list. So I'm positive to it. Then obviously there is a limit to everything. I don't think you should only focus on mobility training, but it can be a good complement for your strength training or martial arts training, etc. Glorious Elf, has your weight training program changed over the years, or do you still focus on heavy compound lifts, heavy weights, low reps, etc.? Basically what I do is, the same thing as always. On the basic heavy compound movements, I go hard and heavy, and then on the lighter bodybuilding, like complementary exercises, so face pulls or triceps push downs, etc., I go high reps. So low reps on the heavier movements and high reps on the lighter movements. And so it's kind of like a mix between powerlifting and bodybuilding, where the heavy work is powerlifting inspired and the complementary work is bodybuilding inspired. Then obviously I mix it up every once in a while, because all sessions aren't good sessions either. So it depends, but to answer the question, yes, the philosophy is still the same, because, the science is the science. So I've stuck to the general principles of it. Next question, also a training related one. Glorious Lion, how do you feel about calisthenics and the gains associated? Pros and cons versus the Temple of Iron. Now, I like calisthenics, but I don't put it as an opposite to the Temple of Iron. I put it as an integral part. So chins, for example, is a very good exercise, and if you have been with me for quite some time, you see that I always put some chins into my training videos, and that's because it's such a great exercise, but it cannot replace the heavy lifting in the Temple of Iron. Now, obviously, you can make it heavy. You can put weights on when you do the chins, for example. And chins is also good because you can train it basically anywhere and everywhere. But to answer the question, calisthenics is, in my view at least, not something you should use as a alternative for the Temple of Iron. You should do the both of them. So for me personally, if I don't have access to a temple, but if there is a possibility to just do chins and dips, for example, I definitely go with that. But I would never replace the heavy lifting in the temple with just calisthenics. But to answer the question, calisthenics, I have a positive view on it, and I think if you can master your body weight, it's an absolutely great way to to get a good control of your body. And also it's easily accessible to just do some chins here and there and incorporate it into your everyday life like that. So yes, a good complement, but you should do the other exercises as well. So that was the questions for this week, or technically speaking it was last week, so there will be another Q&A later on in the week as well. And obviously the Q&As are taken from my Patreon. And if you've watched this far, I want you to comment glory to the Allfather in the comment section. And also be sure to check out my Instagram, both my personal one and the Legio Gloria one, and follow me there. So, have a high intensity day and week. And who am I? That's a secret I'll never tell. XXO.